When I had a show on the air.
Willie Nelson's singing, and so is Dave. Tonight.
Good evening, I'm Bob Schieffer. A series of terrorist bombings has rocked an Egyptian resort city at the height of the tourist season. Scores of people are dead and wounded. We'll start in Egypt tonight. Then we'll have these stories.
I'm Elizabeth Palmer in Iran, where I had a rare chance to question the country's radical president about his nuclear dispute with the West.
Gas price gouging. I'm Cheryl Atkinson with what Congress is and is not doing about it.
And I'm David Martin. Wounded soldiers and their families are being evicted from their favorite Friday night hangout.
This is the CBS Evening News with Bob Schieffer.
It was just yesterday that another of those tapes of Osama bin Laden railing against the West showed up on Arab TV. And today, as has sometimes happened in the past, after he spoke, the bombs went off. This time in the Egyptian resort of Dahab, just south of the Israeli border, and it was deadly. 3 bombs, at least 18 killed, reports of as many as 150 wounded. President Bush condemned the attack. But is there a connection to the bin Laden tape? The experts can't say for sure, but there are many similarities to al-Qaeda attacks of the past. We start with David Hawkins.
The Egyptians are now saying there are at least 4 foreigners among the dead. An official at the U.S. Embassy in Cairo told me a little while ago that it's still too early to know whether any of them are Americans. The 3 bombs exploded on Dahab's beachfront walkway, one at the Nelson restaurant, the others at the Aladdin cafeteria and a nearby supermarket. Egyptian authorities say the attacks were not the work of suicide bombers, that instead, terrorists used timers to detonate their bombs. A witness told CBS News that the explosions were relatively small and didn't even rattle nearby hotels. Dahab is a low-key, laid-back resort on Egypt's Red Sea coast, popular with scuba divers and windsurfers. It's 60 miles north of Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt's premier tourist spot. Terrorists struck 3 hotels in Sharm last summer, killing more than 60 people. The year before, more than 30 were killed when suicide bombers blew up a hotel in Taba on Egypt's border with Israel. Israel closed its border crossing with Egypt tonight after the attack and offered to send ambulances to help evacuate the wounded. This is the height of the Sinai tourist season, so Dahab was likely packed with vacationers. Today is also the start of an Egyptian holiday, and many of the victims are thought to be Egyptian. Bob?
David, has anybody come forward to claim responsibility yet?
As yet, there's been no claim of responsibility for these attacks, Bob.
All right. Well, thank you very much, David. And joining me now is an expert on Middle East terrorism, Michael Scheuer. He was once the CIA's top expert on Osama bin Laden. He's now an analyst for CBS News. Mr. Scheuer, the obvious question, do you think these explosions today were connected in any way to this statement that Osama bin Laden put out over the weekend?
I'm not one that usually believes there's a connection between the televised speeches and attacks, but bin Laden's speech yesterday was so strident and the threat in it was so imminent that I don't think we should rule out immediately the possibility that this was an attack that was ready to go and was just simply waiting for Al Jazeera to run the tape.
Why would they do this?
Well, it fits nicely into bin Laden's definition of this war, which is the bleed to bankruptcy war. This will cost Egypt a tremendous amount of money in terms of tourism. The only sources of money that Egypt has are tourism and the money America pays them, the billions we pay them to pretend they don't hate the Israelis. And so we'll probably end up footing the bill for part of this anyway.
Are there any things about this attack that are similar to other attacks we've seen in the past?
Well, certainly, sir, the multiplicity. There were 3 different attacks on 3 different targets. The targets were economic in the sense that it's the height of the tourist season in Egypt. It has al-Qaeda's trademarks all over it, but again, al-Qaeda is becoming a movement rather than an organization, and we see a lot of people patterning their behavior after al-Qaeda.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Scheuer.
A pleasure, sir.
And it was also yet another day of bombs and grisly discoveries in Iraq. A string of car bombs and shootings there left 25 dead and more than 80 wounded, and police also found the bodies of 28 people who had apparently been executed. All that apparently to discredit the effort this weekend to put together a new government. Kimberly Dozier in Baghdad has more on that story and an exclusive interview with America's top general there.
The car bomb was still smoking, drawing rescuers and onlookers when another one hit. By day's end, there were 7 bombings in all. Separately, dozens of bodies were found. Many of them would-be police recruits, all executed. The kind of violence that leaves Iraqis and Americans asking, when will it end? General George W. Casey recently took CBS News along as he briefed top commanders on his strategy for stopping the bloodshed by putting Iraqis firmly in the lead, even though some critics say Iraqis aren't up to the task.
Yeah, see, I don't buy that at all. Even though we might be more capable militarily, when Iraqis go in and work with other Iraqis to solve their problems, the result is longer lasting.
Even if it's going to take a little bit longer and possibly be bloodier, cost more Iraqi lives?
I don't know that it necessarily has to be bloodier. I don't expect it will be entirely bloodless, but I don't necessarily believe it's going to be a bloodbath either.
Now, some of the political leaders in government have been accused of also leading these militias. Isn't this, in a sense, putting the fox in charge of the henhouse?
It could be if that was true. I know the Minister of Interior has been someone who's been mentioned. I don't particularly believe that, but I do believe that there are people within some of the government organizations at a lower level that do have contacts with militia, and that makes it a very difficult challenge for everyone in the leadership.
There are a lot of IEDs.
On the ground in Baghdad's troubled Dura neighborhood, the 21st Military Police are trying to put that into action.
At the point where I see them going into the areas by themselves, and we pull back, because we've done our job. They're able to go out there on their own.
That doesn't mean they're leaving everything to the Iraqis. If they see suspicious armed groups, the Americans still check them out. But General Casey says his men won't play sheriff on these streets forever.
I don't think we're the only ones here that can do that. In fact, I know we're not.
But the Iraqis are not yet ready to do it without them. Kimberly Dozier, CBS News, Baghdad.
If the news from Iraq was grim, it was hardly better from Iran. Iran's president held a rare news conference today and more or less laughed at American demands that his country discontinue its nuclear enrichment program. Our Elizabeth Palmer was there and actually got in a question.
He's been demonized as a radical hardliner who wants a showdown with the West. But this afternoon, Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad didn't appear to have a care in the world. This was only the second time he'd faced foreign reporters, and he seemed to enjoy the give and take.
I'm interested to know whether there is anything at all the world could do to persuade Iran not to continue to make highly enriched uranium.
Which country are you from?
I represent an American television network.
Is there anything that the world can do and convince you to actually to renounce your own independence?
I think that many countries have rights that they don't exercise.
So this is the second question.
Now I'm answering your question.
Those who are saying that we should give up our rights should come up with a good reason.
The Iranian people know that the UN Security Council is meeting this Friday, and it could decide to impose economic sanctions on them. But the message from their president today was, crisis? What crisis?
That's smart politics here. The fact is, sanctions could drive world oil prices even higher. For U.S. consumers, that sounds like a disaster. But for Iran, the world's 4th largest oil producer, it would mean billions of dollars in windfall profits. Of course, Iranians, too, could face higher prices at the pumps, but they're starting at only about 50 cents a gallon. To underline the point, Ahmadinejad slipped in a few more remarks, sure to give the oil markets more jitters.
Recently, they said that Iran is increasing the price of oil. Well, of course, we would like to see oil prices go up.
This is hardball politics, Iranian style. Ahmadinejad's message is clear on the question of oil prices and forging ahead with its nuclear program. Iran is in the driver's seat. Elizabeth Palmer, CBS News, Tehran.
And those oil prices, of course, are driving the cost of gasoline ever higher. Drivers are complaining to Washington. So what is the government going to do about it? We'll have that story next.
Je sais. C'est pas facile.
Alors, qu'est-ce que je pourrais dire ou je pourrais faire pour que tu prennes une décision?
Pour réfléchir.
Pourrais me rendre très heureux.
Ah!
Garçon, qu'est-ce que ça veut dire?
Ça vient d'où?
Appelez-moi le directeur!
Oh, that was fast.
Wonder where the clog went.
New Liquid Plumber Power Jet. Blast clogs away in 3 seconds. Far away.
Keeping a team of rowdy 20-year-olds in check, Bill is a formidable man. But he was no match for something smaller than a bead of sweat. It KO'd him so fast he didn't even see it coming. It was a clot. Like Bill, if you've been hospitalized with heart-related chest pain or a certain type of heart attack, what doctors call ACS, chances are you've had a clot. But now, Bill's doctor is helping increase Bill's protection against heart attack and stroke by putting Bill on Plavix. Plavix, in combination with aspirin and other heart medicines, helps provide greater protection against heart attack and stroke than aspirin and other heart medicines alone by helping keep blood platelets from sticking together and forming clots.
If you have a stomach ulcer or other condition that causes bleeding, you shouldn't use Plavix. When taking Plavix alone or with some medicines, including aspirin, the risk of bleeding may increase. To minimize this risk, talk to your doctor before taking aspirin or other medicines with Plavix. Additional rare but serious side effects could occur.
Ask your doctor about Plavix today, because no matter how formidable you are, you're no match for a dangerous clot. If you take Plavix with aspirin, continuing to do so will help increase your protection against a future heart attack or stroke. Beyond aspirin and your other heart medicines alone, you may be feeling better, but your risk never goes away. Help stay protected. Stay with Plavix.
Hello? It's your wake-up call. You want to lose that weight that's been creeping up on you? Lose it with yummy post-shredded wheat. You'll feel like you did 10 pounds ago.
Hello, my flower. I'm stuffed up and so congested.
Nasonex relieves congestion and other nasal allergy symptoms. Maybe that's why 4 million nasal allergy sufferers used Nasonex last year. Side effects were generally mild and included headache, viral infection, sore throat, nosebleeds, and coughing.
I have returned, my flower, a changed bee.
Nasonex treats congestion and other nasal allergy symptoms. Ask your doctor about Nasonex.
If one definition of news is the unusual, then here's some news. Oil prices went down today, but the experts say don't get used to it. Traders were just taking their profits. And gasoline continues to rise, about 2 cents a day now. The nationwide average price is $2.91 a gallon. The pressure is building, of course, on Congress and the President to do something about all this, and Cheryl Atkinson now has more on that.
With a gallon of gas up 40 cents over last month.
Right now it's just way out of control.
Some Americans think the government ought to step up to the plate and do something.
There should be some government intervention in some places. This is ridiculous.
Senators just back in Washington after spring break obviously heard the same from voters back home.
Not once did anyone talk to me about eliminating the state tax, flag burning, or gay marriage. Instead, throughout Nevada, I was constantly asked about skyrocketing gas prices.
But is there really anything the government can do? Democrats suggest eliminating billions in oil company tax cuts and subsidies and replacing them with a windfall tax on big oil's excess profits. And the Senate is working on a bipartisan bill nicknamed NOPEC to scrutinize big oil mergers and allow OPEC nations to be sued if they conspire to fix prices. Is there anything specifically that bill would do that would have affected what's happening today?
If we'd have done it a long time ago, it's a long-term response. Going after Saudi Arabia for fixing prices, can you imagine how long that lawsuit would go on?
Today, President Bush, long an opponent of government intervention in oil markets, said he hears the call to keep an eye on big oil.
If we catch them unfair trade practices, we'll deal with them at the federal government. That's what you expect the federal government to do.
With any real relief for consumers somewhere on down the road, all they know is that Exxon's retiring CEO Lee Raymond is driving off into the sunset with a $400 million golden parachute.
Exxon making tens of billions of dollars in profit. I understand that the stockholders are happy, but they're about the only ones.
The big question is, are gas prices front and center here on Capitol Hill because both parties really want to do something about them, or is it simply irresistible political fodder? Bob?
Well, Cheryl, you had a couple of Democrats in your piece there on the Hill. Are the Republicans up there, are they saying anything today?
We talked to them all day. Some of them didn't want to go on camera, but the leadership did send a letter to the president and also to the Federal Trade Commission and the Department of Justice asking for an investigation into exactly is there improper price gouging and also market speculation that should be looked into. Also, new hearings are being scheduled.
Okay. Thank you very much, Cheryl. The man who founded the energy trading company Enron took the stand today at his fraud and conspiracy trial in Houston. Ken Lay was denied, or he did deny, that there was fraud or conspiracy, at least none that he was part of, he said. Lay said Enron's downfall started with the government's star witness against him, former CFO Andy Fastow. Fastow has admitted stealing tens of millions of dollars from the company. In Alexandria, Virginia, the Moussaoui case went to the jury today. Jurors are deciding whether the al-Qaeda conspirator should be sentenced to death or life in prison for failing to alert the government to the 9/11 plot. In closing arguments, the defense asked the jury not to give Moussaoui the martyr's death that he wants. Up next on the CBS Evening News, a blistering new report says the Food and Drug Administration is in the dark when it comes to minding drug safety.
Want to know a secret? For some adults, today's lunch is A3. And this is what some grown-ups think it means to eat their vegetables. That's why there's Delicious Ensure, a source of complete balanced nutrition with protein, 24 vitamins and minerals, food energy. Have a delicious shake for lunch or as a pick-me-up anytime. So even if you don't always eat right, you can still eat smart. Drink Ensure, nutrition for a healthier you.
They say you are what you eat. Put a plant in topsoil, you get a starving plant. Because ordinary topsoil has little, if any, nutrition. Now put a plant in Miracle-Gro garden soil. Wow. Rich, organic ingredients. Plus Miracle-Gro continuous release plant food. Nourishes nonstop for up to 3 months. Plants grow twice as big, and you get twice the compliments. That's nice. Miracle-Gro garden soil. Make your own miracles.
The latest look in fiber is showing up everywhere. All-natural Benefiber, the first fiber supplement that's tasteless and dissolves completely, so you can put it in whatever foods you fancy, even water. Benefiber, the latest look in fiber.
Would I want to be 25 again? Not a chance. I'd rather have all this and great-looking skin.
You can with new Advanced Radiance age-defying makeup with Olay age-defying ingredients built in. Skin looks 5 years younger. Advanced Radiance, new from CoverGirl.
The Astelin?
It could be allergies getting to you. But irritants can cause your symptoms too.
Astelin is seasonal allergy medicine, also approved for nasal symptoms caused by irritants like smoke and smog. These aren't.
For people 12 and over, most common side effects may include bitter taste, headache, nasal inflammation or burning, and drowsiness.
Don't let allergens or irritants do you in.
Ask your doctor about
Astelin.
The Big 98 for the kid in all of us.
I ain't as good as I once was.
When Nashville comes for country.
Had a barbecue stain on my white t-shirt.
Make every day a great day.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Hi, I'm Jerry House.
And I'm Mike Bohan.
Listen to the House Foundation every morning on the Big 98.
Big?
We don't want to call it pint-sized 98.
As days go by.
The Big 98, WSIX.
He got hit by a train and lived to tell about it, but his recovery is much more than a medical miracle. Tomorrow, see why more people are watching the CBS Evening News with Bob Schieffer.
It's become a familiar story. A medicine approved by the Food and Drug Administration turns out to have harmful side effects. But the agency can't come up with a timely remedy, so the issue is fought out in public or in court. Well, a congressional study today says that the FDA needs new power to follow up on drugs in the marketplace. We have a report from Elizabeth Callahan.
Vioxx is the most prominent example, a stark reminder that once a drug hits the market, it's not necessarily safe. The arthritis painkiller was pulled after additional research found it increased the risk of heart attack and stroke. But by then, millions of people had already taken it. Thousands say it's harmed their health. And where was the FDA when all this was happening? Critics say falling down on the job.
This is unacceptable from an agency that's supposed to make sure that drugs are effective and that drugs are safe.
Prompted by congressional outrage, the Government Accountability Office, or GAO, investigated the FDA's ability to monitor the safety of drugs once they're in the public medicine chest, and today released an unflattering report. Page after page paints a picture of bureaucracy hobbled by internal disagreement, poor communication, and little power to protect. The report cites several examples of foot dragging over drugs whose safety was in question. The statin Baycol, the heartburn drug Propulsid, the painkiller Bextra. A timeline of the FDA's action on the rheumatoid arthritis drug Arava shows that in 1998 the FDA approved the drug. In 2001, a safety panel found it was linked to serious liver damage. In 2002, worried citizens pushed for further investigation. That same year, 2 departments within the FDA disagreed on whether Arava was safe. So in 2003, an FDA panel was assembled. And 5 years after initial approval, Arava got a new, strengthened warning label. Dr. Steve Nissen, who's been on dozens of FDA advisory panels, says,
I think the GAO got this one right. I would not characterize the FDA as broken, but I would characterize it as stressed.
The FDA today issued a statement saying it welcomes the GAO report and has already made several changes to improve the situation, establishing a drug safety oversight board, for example. But Bob, many critics of this agency say these changes are just cosmetic and what the FDA really needs is a full facelift.
So will that happen?
Well, Senator Grassley has introduced legislation, and also the GAO is recommending that Congress really broaden the FDA's powers so they can force the drug companies to do further studies of drugs that are in question and may not be safe once they're in the market. But, Bob, there are also many critics of the FDA who say we really need to take drug safety out of the government's hands. We need an independent review board other than the FDA.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Elizabeth. We have the results tonight of the voting in our interactive series, Assignment America. Visitors to CBSNews.com have assigned Steve Martin to report on a 6th grader who's fighting cystic fibrosis but is still raising a lot of money to keep his school from closing. Steve will have the story on Friday's CBS Evening News. And coming up next, it's one of the most popular dinners in Washington, but the tradition may be coming to an end.
It's 30 shrimp at Red Lobster. Mix and match 2 irresistible favorites from Decadent Scampi, hand-breaded, shrimp pasta, or new spicy Cajun shrimp. That's 30 shrimp for $11.99, only at Red Lobster.
When allergies hit, mucus crowds into your sinuses.
The more, the miserable.
Mucinex D breaks up mucus that causes congestion and sinus pressure.
There she blows!
Mucinex D, Mucinex in, mucus out.
Oh, look what I just picked up. What? My prescription for Boniva.
Oh, the osteoporosis medicine you take only once a month.
Once a month? Once a month?
Yeah, isn't that great?
Boniva is the only once-monthly treatment for postmenopausal osteoporosis proven to build bone density to help prevent fractures.
Can I see?
Sure. Unlike weekly treatments, you only need Boniva once a month. You should not take Boniva if you have low blood calcium, severe kidney disease, or cannot sit or stand for at least 60 minutes. Follow dosing instructions carefully. Stop taking Boniva and tell your doctor if you experience difficult or painful swallowing, chest pain, or severe or continuing heartburn, as these may be signs of serious upper digestive problems.
Once a month, huh? Far out. No, that's far out. That I get.
You do the right things to treat your osteoporosis. To build strong, healthy bones, once monthly Boniva. There's only one. Ask your doctor for a free trial offer or call 1-800-4-BONIVA.
quest for independence. It's what drives Americans. It's no different when the subject is money or investments. You can pursue your financial independence your way. And TD Ameritrade is dedicated to helping you do that, with knowledgeable people who inform without selling, with solidly independent research, straightforward pricing. The new TD Ameritrade. Independence is the spirit that drives America's most successful investors.
Veterans in Middle Tennessee are being put on alert. There's a problem with a medical test being performed at VA hospitals. We'll tell you all about it tonight at 6.
2.5 years ago, a Vietnam veteran decided to invite some of the wounded from the Iraq War to his place for dinner. His place is a Washington restaurant not far from Walter Reed Hospital. Well, the dinners soon became a weekly event attended by more and more returning heroes. But now there is a problem. Here's our David Martin.
It would be hard to think of a better idea than giving wounded soldiers a free night out, complete with all the help they need to get there. That's what happens every Friday at Fran O'Brien's restaurant in the basement of the Hilton Hotel. According to Chris Bain, whose left arm was shattered by a mortar, as much healing goes on here as at the hospital.
It's made me a better person. It's actually saved my marriage. It's gotten me to come out and feel like I'm still the same man I was before.
But there will only be one more dinner here. The Hilton, in what it says is a dispute over money, has served the restaurant an eviction notice.
This is a pretty ordinary business dispute, and it would take a lawyer to figure out who's right and who's wrong. But there's not much doubt about who the injured party is.
John Borders, who lost his right leg, is here for the first time with his wife and son.
Yeah, we've actually been looking forward to this for a couple months.
So you've heard all the talk about losing the lease and having to move out.
I think it's very sad. It's very sad.
So if you guys are going to be going through rehab for another year,
yeah,
it's a lot of Friday night dinners.
It is. We're hoping they keep it up for that long.
Another hotel has offered to host the Friday night dinner, but regulars like Bain say it won't be the same.
It's not going to be at Fran O'Brien's.
How much difference is that going to make?
That's a huge difference.
Another regular, former Deputy Defense Secretary Paul Wolfowitz, worries that taking the dinner out of Fran O'Brien's will take the spirit out of the dinner.
It's a living, breathing institution. It's not something you just transfer to some other room.
It's not about a free dinner. It's about Ron L. Bradley, who lost both legs and nearly a hand, able to take his wife out and not feel self-conscious.
Being around other people that are wounded as well, does that help?
I think that helps a lot, yes.
It's hard to stand out in this crowd.
Yeah, so many just like you.
Think of Fran O'Brien's as a wartime version of Cheers, a basement hangout where everybody knows your name and how you got here. David Martin, CBS News at Fran O'Brien's restaurant.
And that's the news. I'm Bob Schieffer, CBS News in New York. Thanks for joining us, and have a good evening.
For news 24 hours a day, click on CBSNews.com. Brought to you in part by Walmart. With the deadline for Medicare Part D prescription drug enrollment coming up on May 15th, get all your Medicare information at your Walmart or Sam's Club pharmacy, or log on to walmart.com/Medicare. The most experienced Washington reporter in broadcasting. We think Bob is the best news anchor on the air today. More people are watching the CBS Evening News with Bob Schieffer. This is CBS.
A routine procedure with potentially deadly results. A health scare for hundreds of veterans in the mid-state.
A tornado hit a house. We've got a woman dying.
They are the desperate cries for help when the deadly tornado tore through Sumner County.
And we've seen a few scattered showers in our area, but we're watching carefully several areas of heavy storms back to our west. Your news begins now.
From your news and information leader, winner of the Emmy for News Excellence, this is News Channel 5 at 6.
And I'm about to lose it, really. I just need to go find her.
A Rutherford County mother is on a desperate search tonight to find her 2-year-old daughter. Good evening. Eva Guerra tucked her little girl into bed last night, but this morning she wasn't there.
The little girl vanished, and today an Amber Alert was issued for Annalise Guerra. The News Channel 5 Scott Arnold is live in Smyrna, where the little girl is from. Scott?
Well, Chris, her mother says 2-year-old Annalise Guerra is a very curious, bright little girl. So at first, her mother thought little Annalise had waken up in the middle of the night and simply walked out of the apartment door. She's done it before. So